Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Let's start by unraveling the 5 things one should never expect from anyone. These are the preconceived standards that often lead to disillusionment. Now, have you ever found yourself disheartened due to your expectations from others? One such expectation that frequently leads to dissatisfaction is the pursuit of absolute perfection. At various instances in our lives, we desire someone to embody flawlessness, to meet every expectation, every standard, and every hope we have set for them. But let's uncover a fundamental truth. Perfection is but an illusion. It's a mirage in the desert of reality. Let's delve deeper into this matter. Picture yourself being in a relationship with someone you perceive perfect. You expect them to always say the right things, do the right things, never waver, never fail. However, what transpires when they slip up, as we all inevitably do? The illusion shatters, disappointment creeps in, and the relationship undergoes strain. This expectation of perfection isn't confined to romantic relationships. It extends to friendships, familial bonds, professional interactions, and even the relationship we have with ourselves. When we set the bar of expectation at perfection, we're setting ourselves and others up for inevitable disappointment. So, what's the solution? Embrace imperfections. Accept that errors are a part of our human existence. When we or others falter, perceive it as an opportunity for growth, for learning. Rather than nurturing disappointment, cultivate understanding and compassion. For instance, if a friend skips an important date, instead of considering it as a flaw, acknowledge it as an avenue for them to enhance their memory, or for you to communicate your expectations better. If you stumble at work, instead of being too hard on yourself, employ it as a platform to learn and progress. Always remember, perfection is an illusion. Embrace the charm of imperfections. They render us human, they make us authentic, and they enrich our relationships. By relinquishing the expectation of perfection, we pave the way for authentic connections, personal development, and a more practical, achievable happiness. Another unrealistic expectation is constant happiness. Life is a vibrant mix of emotions: joy, sadness, contentment, and more. They're not static, they ebb and flow. Expecting someone to always be happy disregards this spectrum. Picture a friend who's expected to be the life of every party. This can become burdensome, leading to emotional exhaustion. They too have moments of sadness and anxiety. If we shift our expectations, allow them to express their true feelings, it can foster a deeper connection. It allows them to feel seen, heard, and accepted. Supporting each other through ups and downs is crucial in relationships. It's about validating feelings and providing comfort. Acknowledging the full range of emotions enables genuine interactions and strengthens relationships. If you expect constant happiness from someone, remind yourself that it's okay for them to feel down. Open conversations about feelings foster understanding and strengthen bonds. Life is a roller coaster. Embrace it in its entirety. We all have our highs and lows, and that's perfectly okay. After all, it's these varied experiences and emotions that make us uniquely human. Fourth on our list is the expectation of complete consistency. Life is anything but static. It's a dynamic, ever-changing phenomenon, and so are we. We grow and evolve, and our perspectives shift as we move through life. Expecting someone to remain the same at all times is unrealistic and unfair. Consider a garden. Flowers bloom differently depending on the seasons. Accept this natural cycle in nature, so why not in people? Think about a beloved book character. Their growth and transformation is what makes them engaging. That same principle applies in our lives. Our personal growth is what makes life interesting. Expecting complete consistency from others can limit their potential and stifle their individuality. Instead, we should celebrate each other's changes and growth. Change is a part of life. It's a sign of progress. So let's embrace change and growth, allowing ourselves and others the freedom to evolve. After all, life is not about being static. Finally, we come to the expectation of external validation for self-worth. This expectation can be a tricky one. It's natural and human to seek validation from others. We all want to feel loved, accepted, and valued. However, the danger lies in relying solely on others for this validation. This dependency can leave us feeling insecure and unfulfilled, constantly seeking approval and fearing rejection. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a talented artist, passionate about her craft. She creates a beautiful piece of art, pouring her heart and soul into every stroke. She's content with her creation, but then she starts to doubt. She wonders if it's good enough, if others will like it. She posts a picture of it on social media, waiting anxiously for the likes and comments to roll in. If the response is positive, she feels validated. If not, she questions her talent and worth. This is a clear example of relying on external validation. Now let's take a different approach. The same artist creates her masterpiece. She's proud of her work, cherishing the effort and creativity she invested. Regardless of what others might think, she knows she's created something meaningful. She values her own opinion above all. This is an example of intrinsic self-worth. The importance of cultivating self-love and confidence from within cannot be overstated. When we learn to validate ourselves, we become more resilient, self-assured, and independent. We're no longer at the mercy of others' opinions. We appreciate compliments and constructive feedback, but they don't define us. Our worth comes from within. We can cultivate intrinsic self-worth by practicing self-love and self-compassion, setting personal goals and celebrating our achievements, and developing a positive self-talk. It's a journey, but a rewarding one. Remember, your worth is intrinsic and not dependent on external opinions. You are enough, just as you are. Your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. So, let's focus on building ourselves up, validating our own worth, and becoming our own biggest cheerleaders. Because in the end, the most important opinion is the one we have of ourselves. Now that we've covered these points, let's discuss practical ways to manage these expectations. Firstly, to handle the illusion of perfection, try to cultivate an environment of acceptance and understanding. Remember, it's the rough edges and unique quirks that often make us endearing to one another. For example, instead of criticizing a friend for being perpetually late, try to see it as a part of their unique charm. This doesn't mean to let them off the hook completely, but rather to approach the situation with understanding and patience. Secondly, when it comes to mind reading, remember that clear communication is key. Instead of assuming that your partner knows you had a rough day, tell them about it. This opens up opportunities for support and empathy. For instance, when you're feeling overwhelmed, instead of hoping they'll notice, say something like, "I've had a challenging day and could really use some support right now." Regarding the expectation of constant happiness, it's crucial to understand that it's natural for moods to fluctuate. Embrace the full spectrum of emotions, both in yourself and others. For example, if a loved one seems down, instead of pushing them to be happy, offer a listening ear and reassuring words. Fourthly, when dealing with the demand for complete consistency, remember that change is a part of life. For example, if a friend has taken up a new hobby or changed their lifestyle, express interest and support, even if it's different from what you're used to. This shows respect for their individual growth and personal evolution. Lastly, in the quest for external validation, it's essential to remember that self-worth comes from within. Try to cultivate self-love and confidence, and remember that your value doesn't depend on others' opinions. For instance, if you find yourself waiting for others' approval, take a moment to reflect on your own achievements and strengths. Recognize the inherent worth in being you. Implement these tips in your relationships and observe the difference. Remember, the aim is not perfection, but to foster healthier, more meaningful connections. So let's embrace our imperfections, communicate clearly, accept the full spectrum of emotions, welcome change, and cultivate self-worth from within. And there you have it, folks. 5 expectations you should never have and practical ways to manage them. I hope these insights help you in your journey towards healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Remember, it's not about changing others, but rather about managing our own expectations and reactions. Implement these tips in your relationships and observe the difference. As we conclude today's exploration, remember these key points. The first step towards healthier relationships begins with letting go of unrealistic expectations. Perfection is an illusion, and expecting it from others only leads to disappointment. Embrace the beauty of imperfections and the growth that comes from learning from our mistakes. Secondly, the myth of mind reading. Clear communication is the cornerstone of any relationship. Instead of expecting others to read our minds, let's strive to express our needs and thoughts openly. This not only prevents misunderstandings, but also paves the way for deeper understanding and connection. Thirdly, the expectation of constant happiness. Life is a roller coaster of emotions, and it's okay not to be okay sometimes. Let's be there for each other through the highs and the lows, and create authentic connections that go beyond surface-level positivity. Fourthly, the demand for complete consistency. People change, and that's a beautiful thing. Embrace the evolution of life and the changes that come with it. After all, growth is not possible without change. And lastly, the need for external validation. Our worth is intrinsic and not dependent on the opinions of others. Let's cultivate self-love and confidence from within, and understand that validation from others is a bonus, not a necessity. These 5 points are powerful reminders of how we can manage our expectations in relationships. By embracing imperfections, fostering clear communication, acknowledging the spectrum of human emotions, welcoming change, and building self-worth from within, we can cultivate healthier and more meaningful connections. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, so feel free to leave a comment below. And remember, the key to healthier relationships starts with you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.